Sumajit, Vikas, Sejal. All right, let's see this then. आपको कुछ बातें लिखनी है आज फिर. हाँ सर, और हम कर क्या रहे हैं आजकल? Let's see. So we'll put you down on few things again. So last class we had talked on price subsidy and irrigation subsidy. Today we talk about fertilizer subsidy. Fertilizer subsidy. And when we bring forth fertilizer subsidy, there are few things to keep in mind there on fertilizer subsidy. That is, in India, we started this subsidy, initiated in 1978, 79, and this was called, initiated through a method called retention price scheme. The subsidy was initiated 78-79 and it was initiated through a method called retention price scheme. In this retention price scheme, government paid cost plus 12% of cost to fertilizer companies so that they could supply fertilizer at a cheaper rate to the farmers. So this is what started, that government would pay cost plus 12% of cost. All right, cost plus 12% of cost to the fertilizer companies, and they could supply fertilizer at cheaper rate to the farmers. That was the idea. Now remember, this scheme again had 2-3 troubles. One was, cost was not fixed transparently. So the companies would sometimes inflate the cost and take more money from the government. Second was, there was no incentive in this to reduce cost for the fertilizer companies. They were getting more money for inflating their cost. And another was that they were not educating the farmers about right type of fertilizer, right amount of fertilizer, resulting in excessive use of fertilizer. So with this retention price scheme, if I can see the problems, A, it resulted in incentivizing cost inflation. B, it did not support sustainable use of fertilizer. And C, it promoted inefficiency as cost calculation by fertilizer companies was not transparent. So these are some of the issues that we faced. Resulted in incentivizing cost inflation, did not support sustainable use of fertilizers, and promoted inefficiency as cost calculation by fertilizer companies was not transparent, which I just told you. Also remember, in Indian context, we use urea. This is the most used fertilizer. This is the nitrogenous fertilizer that we use. we use diammonium phosphate. This diammonium phosphate, we call it DAP. This is the phosphorus-based fertilizer. And we use muriate of potash, which is MOP, potassium-based fertilizer. So that is NPK that we have been working by in India. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. And these are the three major fertilizers that we use or we work with in Indian context. Now understand this, initially till 1991, this retention price scheme went on. It was also called gold plating scheme. Gold plating वो cost plus की वजह से नाम दे दिया गया इसे कि retention price scheme बुलाओ या gold plating scheme बुलाते थे इसको. Alright, that is like gold plating the costs of production. And it was creating huge losses. These issues were seen. So in 1992, government introduced nutrient-based subsidy scheme. Nutrient-based subsidy scheme. This was done in 1992, and initially it was done for all the fertilizers. Alright, 1992 mein this was done for all the fertilizers. ये कहा गया कि अब retention price scheme से पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे. You will not get money through retention price scheme. You will get money via nutrient based subsidy scheme, in which the companies were instructed to put nutrients into fertilizer bags and then distribute. For example, the focus was not only on NP and K, the focus was also on micronutrients like sulfur, like calcium, like iron, and so on. Alright, and then you mix these up, make a sack, and sell that sack in the market. And then the government will subsidize you on that basis. Remember one more thing, for these two, DAP and MOP, they are majorly imported fertilizers in India. India doesn't produce much of DAP, in fact very negligible. Phosphorus based fertilizer India में 1% भी produce नहीं होते. More than 99% is imported in India. Potash based fertilizer to some extent is produced, but 95-96% is still imported to India. So MOP and DAP are heavily imported fertilizers of India. Urea is also imported, but urea is also produced in India substantially. Urea भी import होता है, लेकिन India में भी produce होता है substantial level पे. So that is about DAP, MOP and urea. I'm picking up the story from here that government introduced nutrient-based subsidy scheme. Now you write below that, ये आप copy करते रहना, आप इसके नीचे बस लिख लो. Under NBS, NBS is nutrient-based subsidy scheme. Government announced that subsidy will be given on the basis of fertilizer sacks mixed with micronutrients like iron, calcium, sulfur, etc. And on the basis of global price of fertilizers. Full stop. However, it resulted in large protests. It resulted in large protests, especially against rationalization of urea subsidy. As I told you, urea was the most used fertilizer, and huge protests, and again Punjab and Haryana playing a big role because they would be major users of urea. 1992 this was happening. और जो हमारे यहाँ होता है एग्रीकल्चर को लेके लोग डर जाते हैं, उनको लगता है वोट नहीं मिलेगा. So 1992 the government folded itself back. They said, all right, we will not be taking any extra, putting any extra burden on urea, but they brought phosphorus and potash under NBS. So they said for phosphorus and potassium there will be nutrient based subsidy. For urea there will be nothing like nutrient based subsidy. We will go back to the old regime. They said we will not give retention price scheme, but we will keep subsidizing the fertilizer company and keep asking them to charge lesser price from the farmers. Alright, that story continues, and it continues till today. What's the challenge now that comes up in such kind of a scheme system? Now what are the real challenges that fertilizer subsidy brings to us? So you write below that challenges of fertilizer subsidy. Challenges of fertilizer subsidy. Let's see, there are typical ones. कुछ तो हमने अब काबू कर लिया है, एक दो को. जैसे पहले हमारे यहाँ क्या होता था, अब सुन लेना मुझे, फिर मैं आगे इस पे चलता हूँ. 2015 में हमारे इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने एक पूरा चैप्टर लिखा था फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी के लिए. There was volume 1 chapter 9 economic survey 2015-16. There's a complete chapter on how fertilizer subsidies are a big wastage in India, and they highlighted few things. They said, and in those days we used to give around 75,000 crore as fertilizer subsidy. Now we have budgeted 1,75,000 crore in the next 7 odd years. So that shows how things have changed, or how much things have changed. क्योंकि उस समय वो कह रहे थे fertilizer subsidy कम करो, हमने कम करने की जगह उसको 2.5 times बढ़ा दिया या 2.3 times बढ़ा दिया. तो क्या कह रहे थे वो, और कुछ चीजें हमने सुधारी भी हैं. Few things we have improved upon, but few things we are still struggling. So economic survey was saying, one, that a lot of fertilizer, especially urea, is siphoned out for industrial use, making naphtha, out of that. तो बोलते थे बहुत सारा फर्टिलाइजर जो है वो इंडस्ट्रियल यूज में डाल दिया जाता है, नैप्था वगैरह बना लेते हैं, तो किसान के लिए सब्सिडी दी जाती है, लेकिन वो सब्सिडी एक्चुअली किसान तक पहुंच नहीं रही, रादर इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट ले लेते हैं उसे. Ideally the subsidy is meant for the farmers. The farmers are not getting it, rather it's extracted by the industrialists. That was one thing said by economic survey. This has been controlled by the government now because of neem coating of urea. So the government started neem coating of urea, and that to a great extent is now in a controlled zone. But then there were other issues like smuggling of fertilizer from India to Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal, because these places is where fertilizer was sold costlier, and then from these places it could go to other places, and this became a big racket. And survey was also suggesting this. We are also still of the view that that is a big thing we need to stop. Another was monopolization of fertilizer market. जो imported fertilizer हैं वो सिर्फ वही लोग import कर सकते हैं जिनको सरकार ने लाइसेंस दिया है. imported fertilizers can be imported by only those people who have the license from the government. Now, that's not a bad idea. The idea is that ways government will be able to keep a check on any misuse of import of fertilizer. But it creates the problem on other side that since there are very few people who have this import license, they start controlling the market and behaving like an oligopoly in this market. All right. It's called canalization of fertilizer. Canalization. एक canal की तरह बन गया. There's only one route through which all fertilizer will come to India. That is still unresolved. It still lies unresolved. क्योंकि यही हमारा समझना जरूरी है. जब हम कहते हैं ना फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी सरकार दे रही है, किसको दे रही है? किसान को नहीं. ये फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी मिल रहा है उनको जो फर्टिलाइजर बेच रहे हैं किसानों को. अब सोचो ग्लोबल मार्केट में फर्टिलाइजर प्राइस हो गया $1000. मैं यूरिया की बात कर रहा हूं. हमारे यहां अभी भी बिक रहा था $70. सरकार $930 के हिसाब से सब्सिडी दे रही थी पर क्विंटल. ऑफ कोर्स ठीक है, पर सोच के देखो ये बात, ये सब्सिडी मिल किन्हें रही है? द सेलर्स ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर, एंड दे आर वेरी हैप्पी अबाउट इट. Because if you don't let the price of fertilizer rise commensurately, at least let it rise by 5 times, if not the entire 15 times, the demand for fertilizer will also go down, no? But now the demand for fertilizer is not going down because you are keeping the prices low, which means the farmers will keep using more and more and more and more fertilizer, and which is effectively increasing the volume of fertilizer put into the market, and therefore increases the subsidy that actually these companies are getting from the government. And they can keep propagating, keep giving subsidy, don't hurt your farmers, etc., etc. And we have kept doing that. So that's another challenge, that canalization of fertilizer, limited production of fertilizer, gives some people a lot of control on the market. And another thing that we see in fertilizer market is, that we saw earlier also, if we keep it subsidized, there is excessive use of fertilizer, which means soil quality starts becoming worse. Salination, leaching, these are all things that start happening as overuse of fertilizer takes place. Another problem that it creates is overuse of water due to overuse of fertilizer. Solubility जो है पानी का, fertilizer का, उसके लिए ज्यादा पानी डालते हैं, फिर irrigation की requirement बढ़ाते हैं. So overuse of fertilizer due to overuse of water due to overuse of fertilizer. Excessive water extraction due to excessive use of fertilizer. And then it creates health issues, etc., because these fertilizers have a chemical nature. Excessive fertilizer use means that consumers start getting affected. And it's very interesting that we have newspapers and we have intellectuals who write pages about how excessive fertilizer use should be controlled in India. And then interestingly, they write pages about how fertilizer subsidy should not be reduced in India. Now that's thought process wise contradictory. Unless you don't reduce this fertilizer subsidy, inform the farmers about right methods of using fertilizer, you can't control the use of fertilizer on the field. If farmer को मैसेज मिला हुआ है ज्यादा फर्टिलाइजर डालो फील्ड में, ज्यादा ग्रो कर लो, तो वो क्यों चेंज करेंगे खुद को? और आप ऊपर से उनको वो सस्ता भी दे रहे हो. DAP, MOP, we have done wonders this year. On DAP and MOP alone, we gave a subsidy of approximately 80,000 crore. Now imagine the total subsidy bill of the government on fertilizers last year, I'm talking 2022-23, is 2,25,000 crore. Big bill to pay. And while another problem raised in economic survey was that this subsidy doesn't reach the small farmers. So we are helping the large farmers and the bigger farmers through this subsidization process. We are giving farmers perverse incentive to use more fertilizer, which is health-wise not good. We are giving farmers the perverse incentive to use more fertilizers, which is degrading the soil. And we are making them use more fertilizers, which is making water table go down. And somehow we still advocate. अभी इस साल सोचो 2,25,000 करोड़ रुपीस से फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी 1,75,000 करोड़ की गई, लोग गुस्सा हो गए और लोग इवेट करते हैं. और कुछ ऐसे लोग जिनको मैं बहुत रिस्पेक्ट भी करता हूं, मैंने डॉक्टर ड्रीज से यही बात पूछी, दैट सर यू सेड सब्सिडी शुड नॉट हैव बीन ब्रॉट डाउन, But fertilizer subsidy is a problem in India. Why do you advocate it? Now, sir was hiding behind clauses. Sir was saying, no, no, I never said fertilizer subsidy. I said overall agricultural subsidy should not be brought down. That's chess game. And I don't mince my words when sir ko bhi bola ye. And I said, let's not play chess together. I have been always your student, would love to be that. And hence, please clarify, did you categorically did not mean fertilizer? Then why don't you come up in public domain and clarify that I meant agricultural subsidy, but I don't include fertilizers in that because they are perversive in nature. And that's the job of an intellectual, especially a teacher. I mean, sir is a professor and par excellence, without any doubt. He would know far better economics to come in public domain and uncouthingly say, oh, I just meant it was about agricultural subsidy. No, no, he would very well mean what he's talking. And that's the sorry part of India, because sir dislikes the government so much that sir has let his liking for economics get overpowered by that. मैंने सर को ये भी बोल दिया था. And thankfully sir is a tolerant person. सारी बातें सुनते हैं, जवाब भी देते हैं अपनी तरफ से. मैंने सर को यही कहा था. मैंने कहा सर मुझे लगता है कि आप सरकार से इतनी ज्यादा दिक्कत है आपको कि आप इकोनॉमिक्स के प्रति प्यार भूल रहे हो. So no, I don't like the government, that's okay, but that doesn't mean, I actually didn't mean so. He doesn't like the government, that's understandable. People left of center don't like our government currently. But that, again I repeat, that can't come up between correct understanding that we should give our people. And that's big drawback of our fertilizer subsidy. I mean, if you ask me, first thing we should do is take it back to the level of at least 2019-20, when it was around 48,000 crore budgetary expenditure and 73,000 crore actual expenditure. कम से कम वहां पहुंचा है 2019-20. 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए कम किए जाए. ये रैकेट बनता है पूरे का पूरा. जिस देश में जिस भी चीज को लेके ये चीजें की जाती हैं, उस चीज का रैकेट बनता है. जैसे अमेरिका में ओल्ड एज होम्स एक रैकेट बनते जा रहे हैं. सरकार की फंडिंग मिलती है ओल्ड एज होम्स को, तो लोग जबरदस्ती ओल्ड एज पीपल पकड़ के ले आते हैं अपने यहाँ कि इनका परिवार इनका ध्यान नहीं रख पा रहा. वो परिवार कह रहा है मैं इनके साथ रहना चाहता हूं, ये मेरे साथ रहें. ओल्ड एज पीपल कह रहे हैं मैं इनके साथ कंफर्टेबल हूं. और ये जो ओल्ड एज होम वाले हैं ये जाके बोलते नहीं नहीं हमने इंस्पेक्शन किया है और हमें पता चला कि ये बड़ी तकलीफ में है, इन्हें हमारे साथ रहना चाहिए. क्यों? मोर पीपल मोर फंडिंग. नॉर्वे में ये चाइल्ड को लेकर रैकेट है, स्वीडन में भी, that they would go and say, oh, they are not taking care of their children. Children should be brought up in foster parenting. क्योंकि पैसे मिलते हैं इन बातों के लिए. समझाना कुछ चाह रहा हूं आपको, सरकार का इंटेंट गलत नहीं होता इन चीजों में. If there is an old age home, there is a foster parenting, there is fertilizer subsidy or there is a food subsidy. Of course, the government's intention is that the vulnerable should not pay for that or vulnerable should not be left vulnerable. But once you decentralize it, people start making a business out of it. Because they believe that unless we don't show the vulnerable, we will not get money from others. And that is something that the West has caught up big time, and now in East we are learning it. ये पहले इंडिया जैसे कंट्रीज में उतनी ट्रबल नहीं था उतना इन बातों को लेके. ये वेस्ट में ये रैकेट बहुत दिनों से चल रहा है. 1990s में ये रैकेट हम लोग ऑब्जर्व करते थे या पढ़ते थे इनके बारे में जब मैं अपनी पीएचडी कर रहा था. So this racket used to be there. This has grown, no doubt. Even in India now it's becoming a racket where poverty is becoming a business. Collect money in the name of poverty. Crowdfunding is becoming a business. I want to do crowdfunding. I want to educate myself through crowdfunding. Now some good Samaritans give you money to educate you without sometimes realizing that you were capable enough to educate yourself. So this is where a check and balance is needed. In fertilizer we need it badly. So that is what my next few lines for you will be. I'm just developing that now. First challenge then you write. I hope you understand this story. So you write the first challenge. It results in lack of crop diversification, as farmers use fertilizers to grow crops, especially wheat and rice, to grow crops, especially wheat and rice, wheat and rice, to get assured income, to get assured income even in areas which do not have soil capability, even in areas which do not have soil capability to grow these crops. Second point, you write, a lot of urea used to be siphoned out, S-I-P-H-O-N-E-D, siphoned. A lot of urea used to be siphoned out for industrial use, comma, it is still getting leaked, L-E-A-K-E-D, still getting leaked to industry, but it has been significantly controlled. It has been significantly controlled by neem coating of urea. Neem coating of urea. It's mixing urea with the the granules of neem leaves. All right, that is what it is being done. So then it becomes unfit for industrial use. Then it can be used only in fertilizer. All right, so that is neem coating of urea. Then you write next, it results in soil degradation due to excessive use of fertilizer, results in soil degradation due to excessive use of fertilizer. Fourth, it creates over extraction of water for solubility, S-O-L-U-B-I-L-I-T-Y, solubility, which leads to depletion of groundwater table, next, it has distorted N:2P:K ratio. It has distorted N:2P:K ratio in India. That's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. N:2P:K ratio in India from the ideal 4:2:1 from the ideal 4:2:1 to 13:3:1, 13:3:1 because of excessive use excessive use of fertilizers, especially urea. And you know why urea? Because the rest two were under more transparent subsidy scheme. So then obviously their price would rise more and people will use less of those and more of urea. So that is the reason why urea got excessively used in India. Next, you write. It has created health problems as chemical fertilizers entered food chain. And then one more you write, it puts excessive subsidy burden on the government without serving the purpose of equity, as many poor farmers remain deprived of it. Many poor farmers remain deprived of it. You again change your paragraph. Now we are talking about the solution, what can be done and how it can be done. You write, fertilizer subsidy can be rationalized in India. Fertilizer subsidy can be rationalized in India by gradually shifting to direct benefit transfer, where fertilizer should be sold at market price. Fertilizer should be sold at market price and subsidized amount should be transferred directly to the farmers. This will require information about soil quality, because that will help us in knowing what kind of nutrient is needed and how many nutrients or how much nutrient is needed. So soil quality, water table, crop productivity, soil quality, water table, crop productivity, comma, irrigation facility, and ownership of land holding. Full stop. Lack of these information has become a big reason that direct benefit transfer is still not fully operational in India. Is still not fully operational in India. All right, I have a question online that what is the source of 13:3:1 ratio? It's Ministry of Agriculture website. And is fertilizer subsidy compatible with WTO rules? It is compatible with WTO rules. There's another question is about what about the nano urea that we are now planning to use? Wonderful attempt, but it is a big time starting genre right now. Whether it is nano urea, whether it is one nation, one fertilizer, I'm waiting for them, and hopefully with the discussions we will have in the test series, I'll be able to give you some basic ideas. But you know, at best they are a situation which you can write as one-liner in your answer at the moment. That the futuristic provisions at the moment, they can become big in future, but at the moment you can say that government is trying to rationalize through one nation, one fertilizer system, so that there is no confusion among people by the brands that get created, that some brands try creating a larger impact on people and then try getting larger subsidy from the government. And similarly, nano urea is something where the government has now established a plant in Baroda for producing nano urea in India. But important thing is that only that how much will we succeed and exactly what will be the impact on productivity. All these are at the moment a little in the unknown zone. So let us wait and watch on that. Yes, but if you want to use them as one-liners in your answer, that few reforms like introducing nano urea plants in India or one nation, one fertilizer plant in India, you can write them as one-liners, but nothing more than that at the moment. From your exam's point of view, there is no analysis. Yes, if nano urea does what it has promised, and I don't have the scientific understanding to know that, but if it does what it has promised, it will be a big game changer. Because it says that then the urea particles can be taken directly to the root of the plant, and that will mean less urea used, optimum amount used, and less cost to the farmer. So if that can happen, no doubt we can do much better. But as I said, we'll have to wait and watch. But I will be including some of these things and the economic impact when I'm discussing tests and all with you in an indirect manner. Like what I'll do is when I'm discussing agriculture with you, till then we will be a little better informed on what has happened, or some more things would have come in on government side. I'll include them and talk to you about those. All right, that is the aspect. नहीं ट्रांसफर है, जरूरत नहीं है. जो सब्सिडी आपको सैक के थ्रू दी जाएगी उसकी जगह पैसे दिए जाएंगे. लेट्स सी दिस देन. No, but that's not needed because fertilizer prices have not drastically changed except for Russia-Ukraine war. You understand that? And you know what we are debating? What we are debating is the inefficiency of this whole business. You know that even if whenever price will increase, you got to give more. But we are not training our farmers to use less. You see that? We are not training them to use better quality fertilizers. You know, objective क्या है? ये हम नहीं सिखा रहे. बस ज्यादा फर्टिलाइजर डाल दो, वही वीट राइस ग्रो कर लो, उनकी सरप्लस रहने दो. दिक्कत ये फेस कर रहा है इंडिया आज का. लीचिंग ऑफ सॉइल हो जा रहा है, सैलिनेशन हो जा रहा है, वाटर टेबल नीचे जा रहे हैं, तो जो जिस सब्सिडी के परवर्स इंपैक्ट ज्यादा हो, this subsidy is creating more perverse impact, then there should be a serious talk about the quantum of subsidy, even in real terms to be reduced and nominal terms to be reduced. And reduce it by doing what? By converting it into a method where more poor farmers can be reached. I have given this suggestion in the past also in your classrooms. I again repeat, we are giving 2,25,000 crore rupees on fertilizer subsidy we gave last year, 2 lakh crore rupees on food subsidy we gave last year through MSP, etc. 75,000 crore rupees we gave on, 66,000 crore rupees we gave on PM Kisan. Another 1 lakh crore approximately we gave on Manrega, and approximately 70,000 crore rupees is what we give on schemes like, PM Kusum and Gram Sadak Yojana and so on. Now let's leave Gram Sadak and PM Kusum out of it. Let's keep even only these subsidies on food, fertilizer, PM Kisan and Manrega. That adds up to around 6 lakh crore rupees. Make it another, say, 1 lakh crore rupees. Make it 7 lakh crore rupees. There are 18 crore farming households in India. Distribute 40,000 rupees equally among all of these people. Say, this is your money. Take it. And tell them you do whatever you want to do with this, but we won't be responsible next time if you come saying that we have gone bankrupt. And you got to, of course, all this doesn't happen without educating your people. But even with education, you can't do this in India, because this will mean equal distribution among landless labor, small farmer, marginal farmer, medium scale farmer, and large farmer. But today, the large farmer takes almost 85% of this subsidy, or 80% of this subsidy. Large farmer will never agree for this change. They'll say, hang on, we won't let this happen so easily. Because they're making money out of the whole system we have today. So that is my point, that why don't you redistribute it like that? Yes. No. This is, कोई जीरो गायब कर दिए बीच में तुम, इसीलिए ऐसा हो गया होगा. मैं तुम्हें वैसे ही काउंट करवा देता हूँ. Approximately 60,000 crore PM Kisan, 1 lakh crore Manrega, that's 1,60,000 crore, 2,25,000 crore your fertilizer subsidy, that's 3,85,000 crore, and 2,15,000 crore food subsidy, that's 6 lakh crore. Okay? All right. So when you look at this, and the point is, again I repeat, this will be more efficient because now you don't have to bother about who is, whether the fertilizer is reaching people or not, or whether the food subsidy is reaching people. You tell people this is your money, use as you would like to. But if things go bad for you, we can't help it. What else do you have to do? Guide people, educate them what is the best way to use it. That's important. In case आपके मन में आता है, नहीं ये तो irresponsible हो जाएंगे farmers और इसके वजह से नुकसान बहुत हो जाएगा. सोचो अगर यही आपके पेरेंट्स आपको पैसा भेजते हुए सोच लें. क्योंकि आइडियली तो तुम्हें 24 घंटे पढ़ना है. इररिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की बात कर रहा हूं. तो आइडियली 24 घंटे पढ़ना है, वो तो इम्पॉसिबल है, वो आइडियल वर्ल्ड है, परफेक्ट कंपटीशन, वो तो होगा नहीं. तो उसके नीचे भी लेते आए और तुम्हारे पैसे फिक्स कर दिए जाएं ऑन योर एफिशिएंसी, तो थोड़ी आफत आनी शुरू हो जाएगी. क्योंकि उस केस में वो क्या होगा, ट्रस्ट नहीं शो कर रहे तुम्हें. सो ट्रस्ट पीपल फॉर व्हाट दे आर and believe that they will be able to take right decisions provided they are given the right incentive. यही तुम्हें डेवलपमेंट थ्योरी में सिखा रहा था. अगर तुम्हें याद हो, रोल ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर, देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन बाय टोडेरो, आर फार्मर्स रैशनल or are they rational based on the information set that they have? Give them the right information set, give them the right market situation, and their rationality will match what you would like them to do. And along with that, give them this direct benefit transfer. But again I repeat, we don't do that. We don't do that. यही सब excuse के पीछे छिपते हैं हम. अरे नहीं, गरीब किसान की बात ही नहीं होगी, ये तो किसान लोग जो हैं ये irresponsible हो जाएंगे, पैसे वेस्ट हो जाएंगे, फिर सरकार क्या करेगी. अभी बड़े पैसे इस्तेमाल हो रहे हैं, तो हम ये देखते ही नहीं कि अभी क्या कर रहे हैं. We never see what are we doing now. we are always saying this bad thing will happen in future and hence we should not do the improvement. This has been typical anti-reform mold in India since beginning. But we could still do it in industry, because in industry we were targeting educated people, urban people, people with better skills. So convincing them that this is for your betterment was relatively easier. In agriculture it's very difficult, because you are talking about people who are not well educated. We are talking about farmers who can have 1 acre land, 1.5 acre land, 2 acre land, so they are already risk averse. We are talking about farmers who have had wrong experiences with the government many times in the past. So that makes them more aversive to government settlement programs. And we are talking about a system where there is a lot of vested interest group which doesn't want the system to change, and they are the ones who create perspectives in the rural areas. एक perspective creation होता है ना, who is setting the thought process? देख रहा है विनोद? So once that starts working out, then things are out of control, because as a government you are always worried whether people will think against me. So this is the trouble part. That vested interest group won't let you take decisions very easily. इसीलिए बार बार मैं आपसे बोलता हूं, education, information networks, helping the farmers, don't get 100% people participating with you. Even with 50% people, 30% people participating, make sure that program enters into a big success program. If the program is successful, next time 30% will become 50% and then 80% and so on. I can believe this can be with you till there. Okay. एक और बात जो हमें करनी चाहिए, advertise the success programs. We advertise the failure programs quite a bit. हम ये करते हैं बार बार एडवर्टाइज, देखो ये फेल हो गया, देखो ये स्कीम नहीं चली, देखो वो स्कीम नहीं चली. और जो सक्सेस प्रोग्राम्स हैं उन स्कीम्स के, ऐसा तो है नहीं कि कोई भी सक्सेस नहीं हुआ होगा, इतनी घटिया स्कीम बनी. जैसे एग्जांपल देता हूं, फसल बीमा योजना, not as successful as what we would have liked, but last year approximately 1 crore farmers got the benefit with 13,700 crore rupees given to them. How many times did you read the story about a farmer getting money through Fasal Bima Yojana? Why don't we publish those? नहीं, वो तो सरकार की होर्डिंग है ना. सरकार की होर्डिंग देख के तुम्हारे मन में पहली चीज क्या आती है? फिर और यही चीज अखबार छापे तो भाई, अखबार का काम सरकार के खिलाफ या सरकार के पक्ष में रहना थोड़ा ही है, रिपोर्ट करना है ना. तो मैं तो ये कह रहा हूं, दोनों पक्ष रिपोर्ट करो. सिंपल सी बात है. आजकल कोविड दिक्कत नहीं दे रहा तो H3N2 की बातचीत हो रही है. कोविड से नहीं डर रहे हम लोग. दिल्ली में कोविड फैला हुआ है, हाँ मुझे भी पता है, क्यों. लेकिन अब H3N2 का नाम लेके डराओ तो लोग उसके बारे में रिसर्च कर रहे हैं. व्हाट इज H3N2, व्हाट आर द प्रिकॉशंस, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम वी आर फेसिंग. व्हाई ऑलवेज ट्राई सेलिंग फियर एंड नेगेटिविटी? And why complain after that people in government are selling negativity and communalism to remain in power? Which side of the coin are you on? मैं तो ये समझाना चाह रहा हूं. वो तो दूरदर्शन है ही, योजना भी छापते हैं. सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत है कि जब हम अखबार पढ़ते हैं, हमारे अंदर, मैं इस डिस्कशन के अंदर जाना नहीं चाहता हूं, इसीलिए रोक रहा हूं इसे बार बार. हमारे अंदर इंटरनली एक रेबेल होता है, क्योंकि हम एक पेट्रियार्कल सिस्टम में बड़े होते हैं. तो इमीडिएटली टीचर से गलती हुई, बड़ा मजा आया. प्रिंसिपल के रूम में ब्लास्ट हुआ, बड़ा मजा आया. अब सोच के देखिए. और अब मैं इस बात को थोड़ा सीरियस कर देता हूं मुद्दे को. प्रिंसिपल के रूम में ब्लास्ट हुई, मजा आया. टीचर से गलती हुई, मजा आया. और यही अगर मेरे फादर हो तो अब मजा आएगा या तकलीफ होगी? मतलब मैं किसके खिलाफ हूं? अथॉरिटी के. और वो अथॉरिटी मेरी अपनी हो तो मैं खिलाफ नहीं हूं. तो मैं कैसे निर्धारित करूंगा कि कौन सही है और कौन गलत, अगर मैं खुद ही गलत हूं और पक्षपात से ग्रसित हूं? यह समझना बहुत जरूरी है. If I am engrossed by favoritism, it is my own person, then I will feel bad. अब मैं फादर बदल देता हूं, नेता रख देता हूं वहां नाम, मेरे नेता हो तो मैं उनके पक्ष में हूं, और मेरे नेता के खिलाफ वाले नेता हैं, मैं उनके विपक्ष में हूं, तो कैसे सही डिसीजन लूंगा? हाँ बोलो बोलो। और वो झगड़ा करेंगे आपस में उस न्यूज़पेपर में, जैसे ज्वाइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी होती है। मैं तो उससे ज्यादा आसान तरीका तुम्हें बता रहा हूं। मैं तो ये बोल रहा हूं कि जो पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, आप और मैं, हम कम से कम अपने इन पूर्वाग्रहों को छोड़ें। If we can leave our prejudices a little bit, and even if it is done by someone whom I detest, but done correctly, whether I have the courage to remain on the correct path or not, and then say that no, look, no matter how much I don't like this fellow, but this thing that he is saying or she is saying is correct. Look at our freedom fighters, they had this personality. They may not like each other, they would have huge differences with each other, but when it came to the right things, they would not say that, oh, this is a wrong thing happening. They would say a thing is right, and that is why they had the courage to differ with each other in public. Education, literacy नहीं, literate तो हैं हम लोग, educated नहीं है. So yes, lack of education, quality education, thinking power, and who will have all that? People who are better off, but do people who are better off are willing to use that for the betterment of others, or are they willing to use it to control power themselves? और इसीलिए मैंने तुम्हें एग्जाम्पल दिया कि अगर हम खुद पूर्वाग्रह से ग्रसित हैं, तो किसी और पे क्या इल्जाम लगा रहे हैं कि वो गलत कर रहे हैं? पहले खुद को तो सही करें. We are not making ourselves correct. We have our own prejudices. We have our own thought processes. इसीलिए मैंने तुम्हें एग्जाम्पल दिया. ऐसे ही मैं बिल्डअप करता हूं कि अगर अपने पापा हो जाएं या वो टीचर हो जाएं जिनको हम प्यार करते हैं, फिर तो उनके लिए झगड़ा भी कर लेते हैं. अरे यार उनके बारे में मत बोलो, वो सर तो सही है, वो मैम तो सही है. ये समझा रहा हूं क्यों सही. अब मेरी बात सुनना पहले. क्यों सही या गलत की बात होती है, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड. Why do we not like authority? We don't like authority because authority doesn't like taking us into confidence. Authority likes bulldozing us. That starts happening since we were 5-6 years old, whether it was teacher in the school or parents at home. So they would give affection to us, but many times they would not give reason but bulldoze through us. I want to go to a friend's party. You cannot. Why? Because you cannot. But everybody else is coming. Yeah, but not our house's rules, hence you cannot. Now maybe internally the parents are worried about safety. They are worried about the crowd my child is going in. They could have very easily talked it out to the kid that, look kid, this is our fear. And the kid would retort saying, no, nothing to worry. All my friends are coming. They're all good. Go into details. Tell them, look, these are the possibilities you can't visualize today, but we can, and hence we are not allowing you. But give them some reason and talk passively rather than actively and passionately. Talk passively, talk okay, finish that off. The kid is now growing up in that atmosphere. And wherever you see things are not going very wrong, let the things happen, let the kids do their mistake. The level to, and I'm talking not only parents, I'm talking teachers in school, primary school, secondary school. The level of dissatisfaction the mind has towards authority will be that much reduced. आप में से बहुत लोग हैं जो पढ़ाई में अच्छे रहते हैं, you're good in your studies, and many times you would see that you will not be a part of many things that would happen around you, while you would know that others are a part of it. But you are not a part of it. Why you are not a part of it? Because you didn't find sufficient reason to go so anti-establishment. But if the establishment gives you the reason, it's possible you might do that. And then what happens? You grow up anti-establishment. The problem is, now anything that will represent establishment. मैंने क्यों principal, teacher इनका example दिया? तुम्हें अभी हंसी आ रही है, but gradually you will become that DM of a place. Now you are establishment. We request everyone to stay home today as we are going to have a cleansing drive. आज ही निकलूंगा, मना किया है. We request everyone to wear a helmet as accident can take your life. मैं तो नहीं जाऊंगा. कोई दूसरे हेलमेट लगा भी रहे हैं, तू डर गया? हेलमेट लगाता है. ये लैंग्वेज ही क्यों होती है? मैं इसीलिए इस डिबेट को अवॉइड कर रहा था, बट चूंकि वी आर इनटू इट तो मैं 2 मिनट ले समझा रहा हूं तुम्हें क्यों हम बोलते हैं तू डर गया कि तू कानून मांग रहा है, क्योंकि हमें बचपन से डरा के कानून मनवाया जाता है. They scare us to accept the rules. So when we grow up and reach college level, high school level, if somebody follows the rule, we say, this fellow is a scared not. I am not scared. I am the next Bhagat Singh in making. The rebel across. I don't care about rules. I don't follow rules. What else does it do? It puts mistrust against authority in your mind. अब मैं वापस आता हूं, ये जो बातें हम कर रहे थे ना, योजना, कुरुक्षेत्र, ये पढ़ते हुए उसी विश्वास से क्यों नहीं पढ़ते भाई जिस विश्वास से हिंदू पढ़ते हो? सोच के देखो और पूछ के देखना खुद से. When we read Yojana and they're saying this much has been the achievement of the government, government publication, hence writing like this. And when we read the Hindu and they're saying, look, these things have not been achieved, we don't even try verifying it, we believe. That's anti-establishment. We got to be careful. Is my mind accepting it? Because the anti-establishment is getting better of me. And I don't want to listen to anything pro-establishment. ये तो टीचर का चमचा है. ये लैंग्वेज क्यों यूज होता है आप सोच के देखिए. तो ये हमने अपना समाज बना लिया है. अगर जब तक हम इसको ठीक नहीं करेंगे, और फिर मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूं, अभी तुम इसकी ग्रेविटी को शायद पूरी तरह नहीं समझ सको, बट बीइंग एन ऑफिसर इन दिस कंट्री इज दैट मच मोर डिफिकल्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. You become an officer and you will be protested against just because you are an officer. People are not willing to trust you after that. तुम तो सरकार के तरफ से हो. So that is why information campaigns, education system, and the more you go into places where government is missing, more you go into those places where government is missing, like rural areas, where you don't have government support in a flood control, you don't get government support for water supply, you don't get government support for a dengue outbreak. People have more mistrust because when it comes to controlling, the government is there, but when it comes to distributing the good things and helping out, the government is absent. You understand that? So that is the basic idea to keep in mind when you did talk on these things. Yes, yes. जब तुम लिबरल होते हो ना तो विश्वास जीत पाते हो, लेकिन लिबरल होने के लिए क्या होना पड़ेगा? पहले सही. यह भी जरूरी है. टू बी लिबरल यू विल हैव टू बी करेक्ट, अदरवाइज पीपल विल अपोज यू इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. इफ यू नो आई विल नॉट बी करेक्ट ऑल द टाइम, you can't be liberal all the time. It's as important to understand it. If I let my sons talk to me directly, and if I know that I will not be correct many times, I will know that there will be a time when my son will question me, Dad, I think you are not correct here. And I have given him the liberty to question me. But I don't want that liberty because I know I will not be correct all the time. So I make sure that in the name of tradition, culture, rules, regulations, I take away that liberty. Understand it like that. हाँ बोल, एक सेकंड लूंगा, बोलो बोलो. हर जगह ही रहा है, सिर्फ एग्रीकल्चर में नहीं, लेकिन हाँ एग्रीकल्चर में भी है. दोनों. यही तो बातें कह रहा हूं. पकड़ने की क्षमता इसलिए नहीं रखते क्योंकि लोगों को समझाने की क्षमता नहीं रख पा रहे कि ये लोग आप ही को लूट रहे हैं. ये क्षमता नहीं रख पा रहे ना. अब वही वो भी समझाऊंगा कि क्या पॉलिसीज होनी चाहिए, बट एजुकेशन और इंफॉर्मेशन की बात इसीलिए मैंने शुरू की थी. यस यस. क्यों जेएनयू के टीचरों को दो चार मेरे अच्छे दोस्त हैं, बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक है. बोलो, एक बात सोच के देखो, ये तो बड़ा आसान हुआ ना कि हम टीचर्स को बोले वो न्यूट्रल नहीं है. क्या इंटरनली हम हैं? तो फिर पढ़े ना ज्यादा. ये तो कह रहा हूं, ज्यादा पढ़ लें. जैसे ज्यादा पढ़ेंगे, मेरे एक मित्र हैं, आप लोगों को पढ़ाते हैं, उन्होंने किसी बात पे कहा कि मैं होमोसेक्सुअल सिस्टम को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाता. मैंने कहा ईश्वर ना करें आपके पुत्र उसके तरफ चले जाए। मैंने उनको ओपनली बोला, क्योंकि वो मुझसे छोटे हैं, इज लाइक माई यंगर ब्रदर, बट मैं उनको बोला, मैंने कहा अब अगर आपका व्यू बदल जाएगा जिस दिन आपके पुत्र चले जाएंगे उधर, तो उस दिन आप कहेंगे कि नहीं नहीं नहीं, समझ में आता है, इट्स जस्ट अबाउट प्रेफरेंसेस। तो यही समझा रहा हूं दैट जो सवाल तुम मुझे पूछ रहे हो ना, वो फाइनली इट हैज टू डू विथ लैक ऑफ एजुकेशन, एंड दैट एजुकेशन इज नॉट ओनली व्हाट द टीचर्स इम्पार्ट, इट्स ऑल्सो व्हाट वी इंटरनलाइज एंड इनकलकेट। नेट एक एग्जाम है। तुम्हें क्या लगता है तुम्हारे टीचर सिर्फ हम लोग हैं? तुम्हारे टीचर तुम्हारे वो मित्र भी हैं जिनके साथ तुम घूमे। तुम्हारे टीचर मेट्रो में लगा वो पोस्टर भी है जिसको तुमने पढ़ा। तुम्हारे टीचर सबसे बड़े तुम खुद हो कि तुम मेरी बात को सुने कैसे। तो खुद को संभाल लो। मैं तो ये कहता हूं। नहीं, आज लास्ट क्लास नहीं है, किसी ने तुम्हें गलत इंफॉर्मेशन दी। और मैं तुम्हें फिर से बोलूंगा ये बात, सब लोग समझो। एंड ऑफ द डे it's about finding the reason why a problem happens and trying to give solution to those reasons. All those solutions may not be possible immediately, but if the solutions are not even there in the public domain, you can't even have methods to go about them. किसी ने 15 साल 20 साल 40 साल पहले जीएसटी की बात की, तो बात जब होनी शुरू हुई तो जाके जीएसटी आ पाया। अगर बात ही नहीं होती तो आता ही नहीं कभी। तो कभी भी ये मत सोचो कि क्या फायदा, होता तो नहीं है। दिस आई एम टेलिंग यू एज अ मिडिल एज पर्सन टू द यूथ ऑफ दिस कंट्री, दैट नेवर फील डिस्पॉन्डेंट that, oh, what's the point, nothing happens in my country. Many things have happened in our country, they are still happening, but somebody started talking about them first. And then it took time, took shape, went through various processes and got implemented. Many of them are still not implemented, they will be over a period. But if we don't even talk about them and believe that let it be, we'll be in serious problem then. You know? Because you know why? It's not that nothing will happen after that. Then the other side will use the gap and the vacuum to fill it and make sure that they are more hurt and inefficiency is more perpetuated rather than subdued. So always keep it like that in the mind. Yes, yes. Yeah. Because you know, yeah, I get your point, but you know what, the basic difference is, in universal basic income we are not saying that we will remove other subsidies. Here we are saying subsume these subsidies, your expenditure doesn't change, give it to the people. And you see that, and we are not giving it as a basic income, we are saying this is for all the subsidies that we have been giving you till now anyways. But that's the point, that way then the subsidy should also reduce their efficiency as they are not getting it. And you need pilot projects for it. Do your pilot projects, implement the scheme some places, see how it is working. But even to implement the pilot projects, first of all, we will need these informations that I made you write. That unless we don't have these, we don't even have information about who is earning how much, who owns how much land. So we are all groping in the dark, kind of, you know, that we don't know much, but everybody has something to say. And people don't know who is a poor farmer, who is a rich farmer, but everybody is engrossed with their own ideological semblance. And you ask for a solution, and based on whatever is their ideological solution, they say, hang on, do this. If I'm in the dark, how do I know what to do? And I don't even know where the switch is. Like, this room goes dark. Okay, I'll know that there is the switch. Right now, say in this room, whole big room, nobody knows where is the switch. It's all dark. And now somebody says, okay, hang on, tell me what to do. And somebody very confidently says, okay, I suggest you turn left, go straight, and then turn a right, and you will find the switch over there, switch the lights on. Rubbish, no? That rubbish is what we are doing when we are talking agriculture in India. So that was my point. But we know that the room is dark. And we know that some people are beating in that dark room the other ones. No, honestly, like the room gets dark and then the stronger ones start acting as bullies and they start beating the people next to them. So we know that, okay, people next to them are shouting, cajoling, oh, somebody is beating me, and these guys are beating up. Now we are not willing to open up this room. We are not willing to lighten up this room, but we are willing to give a suggestion about what should be done so that the beating can stop. You understand that? So that is about India's agriculture especially, that it's a dark system. We don't have the data set to actually get the numbers. All right. Yes, yes. मैं तुम्हें एक आंसर देता हूं, सिंपल सी बात सोचो. Are we all okay with this much fact? And I'm sure you guys are educated enough people in India. We are overusing fertilizer. That all scientific reports are showing. When you are overusing something, what do? Do you keep the price low or do you let the price increase? That should be sufficient enough reason to reduce the subsidy. I'm not saying eliminate it tonight. मैं तो ये कह रहा हूं कि ओवर यूज ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर है और हमें ये पता है कि एक्सेसिव यूज की ये परवर्स रिजल्ट है, तो क्यों ना हम प्राइस बढ़ने दें. और जो भी इस प्राइस के बढ़ने के खिलाफ बोलता है उन्हें एक्सपोज करें कि देखो एक तरफ कहते हैं ओवर यूज ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर है, दूसरी तरफ प्राइस बढ़ाने पे गुस्सा हो रहे हैं. उन तक तो बात ही नहीं पहुंचनी है क्योंकि वो निर्णय ले ही नहीं रहे हैं. उनको तो समझाने वाले लोग निर्णय लेते हैं ना. एक छोटा किसान जो कम फर्टिलाइजर यूज करता है उसको तो डराया जा रहा है. उनके डरने नहीं डरने की परवाह ही नहीं करनी. फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी अगर 75,000 करोड़ भी कर दिया जाए, एक छोटा किसान आपके खिलाफ जाके वोट नहीं देने वाला. ये नहीं होने वाला. वो तो इस बात पे वोट देने वाला है कि मंदिर कहां बन रहा है. उसकी चिंता छोड़ दीजिए, ठीक है. वो तो इस बात पे वोट दे देगा. वो तो इस बात पे वोट दे देगा कि नेताजी ने कंबल दे दिया या नहीं, घर के आगे नलका लग गया या नहीं, 2 मुर्गे मिल गए या नहीं खाने को. मतलब मैं असली मुर्गियों की बात कर रहा हूं. तो जो बिल्कुल करीब हैं उनको तो इस तरह से मूर्ख बनाया जा रहा है हमारे यहां. मैं तो बात कर रहा हूं जो व्यू बिल्डिंग है. सो व्हाई नॉट मेक अ व्यू एंड डेवलप अ कंसेंसस एंड देन एक्सपोज पीपल हु स्टिल वांट टू गिव दिस सब्सिडी. वही कह रहा हूं. तो वो बायसनेस इसलिए है क्योंकि हम उस बायसनेस को देखना चाहते हैं ना. इसलिए मैंने अभी इस आंसर में भी कहा कि शुरुआत तो हमारे से होनी चाहिए कि हम अपनी वो बायसनेस खत्म करें. पहले करेक्ट तो करें. और आप कहेंगे नहीं सर हम बायस्ड हैं क्योंकि हमें लोगों ने बता दिया. नहीं, आप बायस्ड हैं क्योंकि आप बड़े हुए अपने उन थॉट प्रोसेस के साथ और आप उन थॉट प्रोसेसेस को बदलने से खुद को मना करते हैं क्योंकि आपको लगता है अब मैं बड़ा हो गया हूं, जो मैं समझा वही सही. 18-19 के बाद इंसानों में यह बीमारी बहुत जबरदस्त रूप से फैलती है. Once we are 18, 19, 20, 17, 16, आप याद करके देखिए जिस दिन से आपने अपने टीचर्स को नाम लेके बुलाना शुरू किया इस बीमारी की शुरुआत हो गई. 7वीं 8वीं 9वीं में शुरू होता है. कोई टीचर है मान लो आपके पंकज नाम की. पंकज बड़ा शानदार पढ़ाता है. अरे वो जनार्दन उसको तो पढ़ाना ही नहीं आता. ये बच्चे कब शुरू करते हैं? जब उनको लगता है आई एम एज गुड एज देम, हम नाम लेके बुलाएंगे इनको. अब डिसरिस्पेक्ट थोड़ी है उनके मन में. उनको लगता है हम इनके बराबर हैं भैया, अब बड़े हो गए, अब हम इनका नाम ले सकते हैं. वहीं से लेकिन एक और बात क्या शुरुआत हुई, हम बड़े हो गए अब हमारा सोचना जरूरी नहीं, अब हम ज्ञानी हैं. 18, 19, 20 आते आते परिवार आपको वो वैल्यू देने लगता है. बेटा तुम्हारा क्या ख्याल है, तुम क्या सोचते हो, जो मर्जी ख्याल बोल दो, अब तुम बड़े हो गए हो. हाँ, कोई वाद विवाद डिबेट परिवार में भी ज्यादा नहीं, आपका व्यू ले लिया गया, आपकी बात इंपॉर्टेंस दे दी गई और संग्रहित हुआ मन में. अब मैं बड़ा हूं, मैं बहुत जानता हूं. अब यही होते होते आप 30 के हो गए. अब तो कुछ कमाने धमाने भी लग गए, पैसे आने लगे, दुनिया आपको इंपॉर्टेंस दे रही है. अब और पक्का हो गया कि मैं तो सब जानता हूं. अब आप स्टूडेंट हैं इकोनॉमिक्स के, कोई आके कुछ सिविल इंजीनियरिंग पूछ रहा है पर आप उसमें भी कुछ बता रहे हैं, अपने व्यू रख रहे हैं. मतलब तुम्हें लगता है मैं मजाक कर रहा हूं, तुम सोच के देखो. इन आवर कंट्री यू विल फाइंड मिलियंस ऑफ पीपल who have no idea about the formula of GDP. They have no idea about the sample set taken in GDP. They have no idea about a GDP deflator. They have no idea how many methods are there to calculate GDP, but they have a view that government is manipulating GDP data. And that is what I was telling you. That's our prejudice. We got to get rid of that. Nobody else can get us cleared on that. पहले हम खुद को सर्वज्ञानी मानना तो छोड़ें. नहीं 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 नहीं, ये आप लोगों के भी समझ में कभी कभी आईएएस बनने के बाद भी नहीं आती। बहुत सालों से मैं पढ़ा रहा हूं, आप लोग आईएएस बन जाएंगे तो भी कुछ लोग अपने व्यूज के साथ ही हैं। 10वीं में अपने बच्चे का गला पकड़ते ही रहेंगे, पढ़ ले 10वीं का एग्जाम है, ओए पापा 10वीं खत्म कर दिया सरकार ने, फिर भी 10वीं है। ये समझा रहा हूं। तो ये सेल्फ इवोल्यूशन है। मैं तुम्हारी बात को डिटेल में आंसर कर रहा हूं, ये सेल्फ इवोल्यूशन है। हाँ, कंट्री कैसे चलाएं? कंट्री चलाने के लिए ग्रास रूट डेमोक्रेसी रखें, लोगों तक बातें पहुंचाने के लिए पार्टी वर्कर्स रखें, वो पार्टी वर्कर्स लोगों तक जाएं, एंड द पार्टी वर्कर्स शुड नॉट हेल्प पीपल ओनली एट द टाइम व्हेन पार्टी नीड्स वोट्स। पार्टी वर्कर्स शुड आल्सो हेल्प पीपल व्हेन दे आर इन सम काइंड ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स हियर एंड देयर। They should simplify things for the people, explain things to the people, and that is called grassroots democracy. These grassroots party workers should nominate the person from their village who can be their representative. Party workers, this is not government doing it. And this village party workers nominated person should nominate the district head, and they should nominate, voting can be done, they can nominate the state head, and the state head can nominate the center head. And this person can then decide to lead the party in the coming elections. That's grassroots democracy, which we don't do. If we do that, then a lot of problems will be solved because people start trusting those who are nearer to them. नहीं, ये तो अमेरिका में चलता है, ये हमारे देश में चलता था। कांग्रेस के जो सेवा दल था वो क्या था? यही करते थे। मैं तो कहता हूं मैं इस पार्टी को सपोर्ट करता हूं और मैं ग्रास रूट पे काम करके दिखा रहा हूं, किसी का कोई बुराई नहीं कर रहा। ये नहीं कि ये पार्टी वर्कर्स आपका काम सरकारी दफ्तर में करवा देंगे। इनका काम है, अगर प्राकृतिक आपदा आ गई, कोई दिक्कत आ गई, अगर आपको कोई मदद चाहिए, आपकी मदद कर दें, और सारे पार्टीज को अलाउड हो कि ये काम कर सके। अगर डेमोक्रेसी चाहिए तब तो ये करना पड़ेगा। हाँ, अगर जो चल रहा है ऑटोक्रेसी, तब तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं, बिल्कुल करेंगे। और इसीलिए अगर हम इंफॉर्मेशन लगातार देते रहे तो ऑपोजिशन, तुम्हें क्या लगता है जमींदार अपोज नहीं कर रहे थे फ्रीडम मूवमेंट को? पर आया ना, बड़े किसानों ने तो और बड़े नेताओं ने तो राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन एक्ट भी अपोज किया था, वो भी आया देश में। इंसॉल्वेंसी एंड बैंक्रप्सी एक्ट भी अपोज किया था बड़े बिजनेसमैन ने, वो भी आ गया देश में। समझाना ये चाह रहा हूं कि ऑपोजिशन होगी चीजों के लिए, बट अगर तुम प्रॉपर क्रिटिकल फोर्स जनरेट कर लोगे तो उस ऑपोजिशन के बाद भी तुम अपनी चीजें कर पाओगे। द रिफॉर्म्स विच आर नीडेड टू बी डन, the reforms are not very simple to do, but they are not impossible to do, but somebody got to act to do those reforms. और नहीं, वो ठीक है, कल को तुम जब पेरेंट्स बन जाओ और ये बात समझे रहो, ऐसा ना हो कि तुम पलटी खा जाओ पेरेंट्स बनने के बाद। मैंने लोगों को ये करते देखा है एक्चुअली कि जब खुद पेरेंट्स बन गए तो जिस लिबर्टी की बात करते थे वही अपने बच्चों से छीन लिया। नहीं, उसमें जाऊंगा नहीं। Let us see. You take this up, then you write. जब मैं ट्यूसडे को भी बुलाऊंगा तब तुम्हें और अच्छा लगेगा। You take this up, then you write. Steps taken by government. Steps, हाँ लिखना है। Steps taken by government to promote. Now, you know why I actually encourage sometimes and do these debates in all my classes? To be honest to you, if I start thinking in per hour payment terms, then no, think of it, because Nextius doesn't pay me per hour. I get my share across. But my point is that even if I convert it into per hour and believe that, okay, these many hours and I should get over with it, I will be the prime gainer. Because I can use that alternative hour doing something else. And believe me, my 1 hour is quite costly. You know, it goes into quite some large number. But my point is, I actually encourage you to do these debates, and I encourage you to think and participate in these debates, because you know what is one big thing you need to be an officer? Conviction in the system. You will be tested in and out in all your mains paper and the interview about whether you are anti-system or you are a person who has a belief in the system and wants to correct it from within. And if you come out as anti-system, you are rejected at one spot or the other. And this is assuming that you have cleared prelims. You know? So if you have cleared prelims, then the test begins. that after that you are tested on what is your answer about. Is it constructive or destructive? Are you clear about the issues in the country? Do you know only what the books tell you, or have you thought over these issues? Do you have the capacity to think into details of things, or are you flimsily just writing the points? And only when you come out better on these do people qualify. You talk to people who have actually qualified, some of you might have talked to, and look at the depth in which they talk. That's a very common thing to all of them, that they will talk in some depth of the thing that they are talking about. And they talk in depth because they have thought in depth. And that is why they could qualify this exam, barring exceptions here and there. You know, that is the point. So you need to think in depth, and that has been my purpose in all these 110 odd classes that we are doing together, maybe a little more. But the whole idea is to make sure that your thought process should be channelized in a manner where you should not be scared of thinking, and you should not be regimented. You know what does regimented mean? I will remain within one thought. ये फर्टिलाइजर के ऊपर इतनी चीजें लिखवाई तुम्हें, बता दिया, हाँ सर ये मैं रट के जाऊंगा, और फिर एग्जाम में वो क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, व्हाट आर द 4 बेनिफिट्स ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी इन इंडिया? ये तो विभास ने बताया नहीं. वही मर गए, क्योंकि ना कोई डिबेट किया, ना कोई डिस्कशन किया, समझे ही नहीं सब्सिडी दी क्यों गई थी. इसी से बचाना चाहता हूं तुम्हें, that my children should not be having this trouble. They should have a wholesome 360-degree view as to why things are happening, what are the rights, what are the wrongs. Hence I keep suggesting to you that you think diverse, read diverse, because then you will have the 360 view. Otherwise, okay, this much written, regimented. Remain within the regiment and keep disqualifying yourself without even realizing what's up. इतनी मेहनत करता हूं, 12 घंटे पढ़ता हूं, फिर भी मेरा क्लियर क्यों नहीं हो रहा. उसके बाद वो टीवीएफ वीवीएफ पे अपना बनाते रहो शो. फेलियर्स के ऊपर शो बनाना बड़ा अच्छा है ना, दुनिया में मेजॉरिटी फेलियर्स हैं. सो यू मेक अ शो ऑन फेलियर्स एंड यू विल हैव ग्रेट व्यूअरशिप. एक YouTube वीडियो बनाओ, उसमें आओ और बोलो पढ़ाई लिखाई से कुछ नहीं होता इस दुनिया में. 1 करोड़ लोग मिलेंगे देखने वाले, क्योंकि लोग मानना चाहते हैं इसको. People want to believe that education means nothing. So come over on a YouTube video and say, you know what, education means nothing, people who are toppers mean nothing. It's great. That is why I again repeat, I rather like movies like Three Idiots, which say that people can be fun-loving, but those who are fun-loving, those who love their subject, are also toppers in it. So don't take them diluted. You know? But हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, अपना हाय फेमस हो गया, उसको 1 करोड़ व्यू मिल जाएगा, 50 लाख व्यू, क्योंकि 50 लाख लोग चाहते हैं ये सुनना कि पढ़ाई लिखाई से कोई फायदा नहीं है, क्योंकि बेचारों से हो नहीं रही. तो ये समझिए, अब it's easy to club people, and you are my children, I keep saying it and I mean it, to be honest. I don't want you to be pawns in somebody else's game. And those who are not pawns in somebody else's game are people who can think on their own. Otherwise, those who follow herd behavior are always pawns in somebody else's game. The choice lies with us, whether we want to be pawns in somebody else's game, and somebody else will play the moves, and I will move accordingly, or I want to be my own knight, who would choose on my own, no look, right now I feel this is correct, and hence I would feel this decision should be taken. That choice is what will decide, again I repeat, what kind of answer writing skills you develop. My whole purpose sitting on this platform is always that my children should have an open-ended mind, accepting mind, solution-oriented mind, so that you can look for correct answers when you write your mains answer series. Those who don't have it, and believe me, in spite of me having said that, only 10-15% among you will get my point. And that is why only 1%, 2% among you will qualify. You know, that is the bottom line of it. You know, आप सोच के देखिए, 3 लाख लोगों में अगर 1200 लोगों का होना है किसी एग्जाम में, तो 700 लोगों में 2 लोगों का होगा ना, या 1 लोगों का होगा, या आधे लोगों का होगा. हाँ, अब ये देखो, आधा मतलब 700 में आधा को 1400 में 1 मान सकते हैं, ये मैं मानूंगा ही नहीं. आधा कैसे आएगा? चाहिए मीन कर रहा होगा खुद 187 सेंटीमीटर का, तो कोई होगा 88.5 93.5 सेंटीमीटर वाला आधा. So you got to be careful that this, I stopped now and just tried clearing to you that why do I allow you to talk and why do I entertain your questions sometimes, because, or why did I do that in my teaching process for you? My purpose is this. And again I repeat, I know that my purpose doesn't solve many of yours requirement at times, but I hope it does, and you can actually start thinking, and that will make a big difference between your qualification or not. Believe you me on that. अगर तुम वही लिखते रहे जो हिंदू, तुम देखो हमारे जो मटेरियल भी बनाते हैं लोग, करंट अफेयर्स एंड ऑल, वो हिंदू और इंडियन एक्सप्रेस का समरी बना के दे देते हैं, फिर तो इससे अच्छा कोई अखबार ही पढ़ लें या फिर सिर्फ वो मटेरियल पढ़ लें. फिर भी आप में से कुछ दार्शनिक लोगों को देखता हूं, सम ऑफ यू फिलोसोफर्स, यू रीड द करंट अफेयर मटेरियल, यू रीड द डेली करंट अफेयर रिव्यू, यू रीड द न्यूज़पेपर ऑल्सो. करंट अफेयर के प्रोफेसर बनने वाले हो फ्यूचर में यूपीएससी में. अगर वो नहीं बनने वाले तो इतना सारा करंट अफेयर क्यों पढ़ रहे हो? कोई एक सोर्स पकड़ो. पर यही होता है, खुद नहीं सोचना. वो वाले टॉपर ने बोला था मैं यहां से करंट अफेयर पढ़ता हूं, ये वाले टॉपर ने बोला था मैं वहां से पढ़ता हूं, मैं दोनों से ही पढ़ लेता हूं. तो आप समझिए ये बात, ये सोच रुक जाने वाली बात होती है, उसको ठीक कर लो, यू विल क्वालिफाई. एनीवेज, आई वुड जस्ट टेक यू फर्दर देन. यू राइट, फर्स्ट थिंग्स फर्स्ट, you write first point in this. These are steps taken by government to promote agricultural productivity. Steps taken by government to promote agricultural productivity. Even if they ask you about steps taken by government to double farmers' income, the same story comes up. Steps taken by government to double farmers' income. And similarly, remember, steps taken by government to increase farming output. All right, everything will come in here. Increase farming output. Again, whatever I make you write, along with that, do include the points we have already covered in the budget. Include that across also. Whatever I have made you write, along with that, those points should be included. There will be few more points from economic survey that I will teach you in the class. Those points also I will not be necessarily dictating to you, because in the economic survey discussion those points will come, and that will make a wholesome answer. All right. So you write first point in that, Prime Minister's Soil Health Card Scheme. PM Soil Health Card Scheme. And you write in that, the scheme has been introduced from 2015 2015 with the objective of improving farmers' information, improving farmers' information regarding their soil. Full stop. Under the scheme, government Government has appointed professionals to collect soil sample make it samples, soil samples from each village, comma, test them in a government accredited lab, accredited, accredited lab, and develop soil health card, with details of soil nutrients, comma, water table, comma, humus content, comma, requirement of fertilizers, comma, type of crops to be grown, based on soil suitability, comma, type of irrigation suitable for soil sustainability, and other actions required to assure soil preservation. The benefits expected from the program are, and you write them as A, B, C, D. So you write A, better returns to the farmers, by increased productivity. And why will the productivity increase? Because they will choose the right crop, all right, right seeds, right crop, so productivity will be higher. So by increased productivity. B, second, water conservation preventing topsoil erosion, preventing topsoil erosion. I hope you are getting these points. Topsoil erosion prevention, because again you will not excessively cultivate. You would know the binding power of your soil. Every soil has its binding power, how much it can sustain, how much is the bounding limit, and if it goes beyond the binding power, then the soil erosion is more and at an exponential rate. So farmers will have information about all that. D, you write, less use of fertilizers, E, comparatively more sustainable use of agricultural practice like leaving the land fallow, F-A-L-L-O-W, leaving the land fallow. I hope you understand, like don't cultivate on a land for a period of time so that it can replenish itself. Alright, so all these informations through soil health card scheme. You change the paragraph again and write, soil health card will be renewed, soil health card will be renewed every 3 years to keep the farmers updated. Full stop. However, in spite of issuing more than 19 crore soil health cards, more than 19 crore soil health cards to more than 13 crore farmers, the scheme has not yet achieved desired result due to following reasons. Now what you are writing are the challenges observed of soil health card scheme. अब जो आप लिख रहे हो वो soil health card scheme के challenges हैं जो देखने को मिला पिछले कुछ सालों में. एक बात और, I am sure you understand that 13 crore farmers with 19 crore cards because of the renewal of cards. Alright, that some cards have been renewed. First point in that, lack of proper sampling practice. Lack of proper sampling practice. What does that mean? Many people, what they have done, government appointed experts, they have gone to the villages, collected one soil sample, making it a representative of the entire village, and then given soil health card to the farmers based on that one sample. Obviously the farmers are smart enough to know that this doesn't match our soil, and therefore the trust is not there. Alright, that is one factor. And you know, when you do such things, that was my point in the whole discussion I was doing with you, when you do such things, then you don't only lose trust now, you start losing trust for a longer period. Because then people start thinking, oh, if it's about government, there will be something trouble here. It's not a good thing at times. And that has a long hysteresis effect. That's what we need to save ourselves from. 2, you write, second point. Lack of renewal. No, I'm smiling for a different reason. I was talking to you about trust. I'll tell you, normally whenever I get a message, I never believe that the person attended the class, did not attend the class, even though sometimes in the questions it is evident that the person did not attend the class, and then reading the notes and not getting exactly what happened. But I tend to reply always. Recently a conversation happened between me and somebody else, and you know what happened? The person said, sir, the notes for economic survey have not been uploaded. So I said, they have been uploaded. The person said, no, sir. I said, okay, I'll still check. Then I checked with Sandeep, sir. I checked with others here. And they said, sir, the notes have been uploaded. Whatever PDF I teach you, the PDF gets in the explanation part of the, So now this person again sends me after 2 days, sir, the notes have still not been uploaded. So I said, look, I have been told by the team that they have been uploaded. You go into the description part and you will get it. Then the person said, sir, which description part? No, that is not the end, of course. I said, you can always go for the description part, and if you don't get it, let me know. He again said, sir, which description part? Then I said, of the video. And then he said, which video? So then I realized that this fellow has not even seen the video and is talking about the notes somehow. So I said, find the video first. Come to me. But that's how things go. But that again, I told you the story for a different reason. My reason was that still cannot become a reason for me that next time if I take a look into a question, I prejudge it, assuming that the person has not done my class. If I start doing that, that's exactly what you call prejudice. And then my judgment calls will start suffering. What I'm trying to teach you, moral of the story is, you can have 5% instances where people may not have been up to the mark that you would have expected them, but for that penalizing the rest 95% with very stringent set of rules, which make it impossible to do business in a country, is not a valid thing to do. India is very often found guilty of exactly doing that. Whether industry or agriculture. That 5-10% people can go rogue, but to stop those 10% people, we don't let the other 90% do business. अब देखना आप में से बहुत सारे गर्ल चिल्ड्रन को ये भुगतना पड़ता होगा, बॉय चिल्ड्रन को भी भुगतना पड़ता है. The males also have to take this, but women have to take it even more. That if you talk about coming out of your house, you are often given an example of some, extraordinary situation in which you are told, look, that happened with that person, and you should be careful. Well, that happened with that person. And that is all that you have got out of 100 other people who got out of their house. But that example is set and given to practically everyone in the family. That is what I am telling you, that is peremptory. ये गड़बड़ है. अगर ये होता है तो नुकसान है पूरे सिस्टम का. हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था वैसे ही चलती है. Our economic system runs like that. And that is what we should avoid doing. Yes, on the other hand, even if 5% error happens in delivery mechanism of a program, whether it is Fasal Bima Yojana, whether it is Krishi Sinchai Yojana, whether it is Soil Health Card Scheme, then 5-10% problem means 10% people will get badly affected by that, and they will start suggesting to others, look, this program is not good, don't go for it. Now you want people to participate in the program, and only then the program can be a success. But now there is a lack of belief about your program among the people. Nobody participates, and that becomes the program less successful. Hence, it is important that those who participate in your program, your here is governments, should be made successful by all efforts put forward to them. That is the whole aspect. All right, I hope you get the point again. Okay, let's see this. You write C then. Okay, lack of renewal of cards on time. Lack of renewal of cards on time. Lack of renewal of cards on time. Next, then you write lack of enough lab testing facility. Lack of enough lab testing facility, due to which there is delay in issuing the card. Not renewal, but even issuing. There is delay in issuing the card. All right. Then you write next point. I mean, this was first PM Soil Health Card Scheme. You write second, PM Krishi Sinchai Yojana. PM Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Small farmers not getting fertilizer subsidy is Economic Survey, Chapter 9, Volume 1, 1516. Lydia was answering your question. All right. Now, this PM, we will keep calling it PM KSY. You write the scheme was introduced, PM Krishi Sinchai Yojana. The scheme was introduced in 2015-16. The scheme was introduced in 2015-16 and it has following objectives. It has following objectives, and you know, when you are writing these following objectives, they are also the expected benefits. All right, when you are talking about objectives, they are nothing but expected benefits. If you read a government paper, PIB, etc., and if you don't get the benefits straight away, but they have written the objectives in it, understand that, okay, these are the potential benefits, that's what they are targeting. All right, that is expected benefits of it. So, you write in that, A, higher water efficiency use. The slogan coined was per drop, more crop. So it is water efficiency use. Alright, that water efficiency in usage will be much more. So higher water efficiency use, more usage, better usage of water, so more crop, per drop, more crop. इसका क्या बता सकते हैं? हाँ, हर बूंद से ज्यादा फसल. Alright. Then, हाँ नहीं वही है कि हाँ कि जो भी वाटर तुम यूज करो उससे और ज्यादा पैदावार हो तुम्हारी. नहीं, the slogan was this, per drop more crop. This was given by the Prime Minister. There were two things written, so this was that, per drop more crop. All right, and then you write second, providing assured irrigation, providing assured irrigation to each field. इसमें तुम्हें हिंदी मिल जाएगा, इसे हिंदी में ही कहा गया था, हर खेत को पानी. Now these were the two major slogans with which it was started, per drop more crop and har khet ko pani. All right, that assured irrigation to each field and higher efficiency in water use. All right, that is, these are the two things with which it was initiated. Third, you write, using drip irrigation wherever possible, using drip irrigation wherever possible, and giving subsidy through cheaper loans. Cheaper loans, I hope you understand, less interest. Giving subsidy through cheaper loans to reduce, giving subsidy through cheaper loans to reduce installation cost of drip irrigation facility. Installation cost of drip irrigation facility. All right, yeah. Water to every field. All right, yes. किसमें? अच्छा नहीं, there are always local slogans. You go to even northern India, it's not that all slogans are in Hindi. National slogans are in Hindi, but every village will have its own slogan. Every area will have its own slogan system of approaching people. So it's not that only national slogans are used. All right, you write the next one then. Fourth, developing aquaculture. Developing aquaculture. Aquaculture within irrigation field and training the farmer in seeding, SEEDing, in seeding of fish. Seeding of fish means actually putting young larvae into the irrigation channel and let them grow into larger fish. That is called seeding of fish. All right, that put your young larvae into the channel and then let them grow into big fish. So you have to train people into doing that, but there are irrigation channels where this can be done. All right, and in the same thing you continue writing of fish to act as an external source of income. You change the paragraph and write, let me complete this and you can ask me. The scheme has covered more than 17% greenfield regions. Greenfield regions means new regions. Greenfield regions and updated, make it upgraded irrigation facilities, upgraded irrigation facilities in more than 38% regions by December 2022. There are two challenges observed in the scheme. two challenges observed in the scheme, even though it is one of the more successful schemes of the government, there are less major challenges, but two minor things observed. A, lack of sufficient follow-up program, lack of sufficient follow-up program. What does that imply? That once the scheme is settled or established, people are not following it up. We are not going back to it. All right. Hand-holding is important. Make sure that farmers are trained into doing something, but then year after year, the repair work, maintenance work, installation facilities, they kept getting regularized. So after 4, 5, 7, 10 years, then people will start getting used to it. So follow-up has been relatively less. And second, जैसे मैंने तुम्हें पढ़ा दिया, अब अगर अभी के बाद तुमसे ना मिलूं ना, तो तुम बर्बाद हो जाओगे। यही फॉलो अप है। तो क्यों मैंने टेस्ट सीरीज को बनाया पार्ट ऑफ कोर्स, कि टेस्ट सीरीज के थ्रू मुझसे फिर मिल लोगे एक बार, कम से कम जो लोग मिल लोगे। और हाँ, ऑनेस्टली, और उसके बाद क्या प्रोसेस रखता हूं, रिमेन ओपन, आंसर क्वेश्चंस, बी विलिंग टू मीट पीपल इवन इफ दे आर नॉट विथ यू एनी मोर। कभी कभी तुम्हें मैसेज कर लिया करता हूं ग्रुप पे ही, हाउ आर थिंग्स गोइंग, जूम सेशंस रख देता हूं, दैट टॉक टू मी। तो स्पेशली ये काम मैं प्रीलिम्स और मेंस के बीच में करता रहता हूं। अभी तो कम कर रहा हूं या नहीं के बराबर कर रहा हूं, पर प्रीलिम्स और मेंस के बीच में ऑफन करता रहता हूं। जो न्यूज़पेपर्स के अपडेशन है वो सभी ग्रुप पे डालता रहता हूं। इसे ही कहते हैं फॉलो अप करना, कि एक काम हुआ तुम्हें पढ़ा देना, तुम्हारा कोर्स खत्म करना या जो भी सिखाना सिखा देना, पर उसके बाद उसको फॉलो अप कितना कर सके, सो दैट यू कैन keep getting strengthened gradually, and there should come a point after say 1 year or 1.5 years when you won't even need me at all. I am not needed. And that is the whole follow up idea. तो सरकार कैसे follow up करे? आज मैंने एक irrigation channel लगा दिया, जैसे मैंने drip irrigation के लिए सब्सिडी दे दी. Alright, that I have given subsidy, that drip irrigation should be settled. What's my next job? After I have given subsidy for drip irrigation, after 6 months, 8 months, there should be an inspection and a third party inspection to check whether that subsidy was used fruitfully or not. After 1.5 years, 2 years, there should be another inspection to see how things are going. Within that time period, there should be a regular facility for repair work, upgradation work, any new technique learned, that should be taken to the farmers. You understand that? That is called follow-up process. Alright? So that is needed in every program that you learn, not only in Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Every program that is needed, because these are new things, people will take time to internalize them. So it's only when you have done it that people start internalizing them. All right, you take the next one then. There's just one more problem here. You write, corruption has been observed. Corruption has been observed in certain regions, due to lack of proper involvement of local government. Base year was changed for SNA. Nikita, I'm answering your question. Krishi Sinchai translates into agricultural irrigation system. It's about irrigation development in agriculture. Though there will be maintenance cost for the farmers, but it should not be excessive. Yes, you can write the slogans. Akanksha, I was answering your question. All right. The question I was asked was that can we use these slogans as they are in our answers? Rather, you should. Wherever you see that there has been a nationally coined slogan, do use them while writing your answer to suggest that the idea is understood. All right, then you write the third one. हाँ ठीक है, मतलब उससे जगह उसको सॉल्यूशन एंड में अगर इसी पे कुछ लिख रहे हो तो एक सॉल्यूशन में लिख सकते हो that there can be insurance facilities given on the structure created for drip irrigation. ठीक है, ऐसे लिख देना. Mainly because in irrigation the structure was already there in many places, so it was easier to implement it. Also it is successful because it has been done with a nice center-state collaboration. The central government gives the money and the expertise, and the state government implements it in that case. So in that sense, that is why we suggest that it should be decentralized even more, so that you can get better results. But it has been successful mainly because it was structured very well, that what exactly is the objective and how to achieve it. Plus, there was a Rajiv Gandhi Sichai program even before this scheme, so that was kind of renewed and brought in like this. Okay, you write the next. Yes, yes. स्टेट इरिगेशन डिपार्टमेंट, जो स्टेट इरिगेशन डिपार्टमेंट है उनके अंदर आता है, ये उनका काम है. नहीं नहीं नहीं, इरिगेशन डिपार्टमेंट हर गांव में इरिगेशन डिपार्टमेंट से कनेक्टेड ऑफिसेज हैं. नहीं नहीं, उनके एम्प्लॉइज जाएंगे. और ये बात तुमसे यूपीएससी नहीं पूछेगी कभी. मतलब मैं बस गाइड इसलिए कर रहा था कि कभी कभी हमारे सवाल अगर जाएं उस तरफ तो हम खुद को रोक लें, मतलब वो कह रहा था. ऑल राइट, let's see this then. The next thing that you need to know is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Let's say third, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Now see, we will keep calling it PMFBY. All right. Now, Fasal Bima Yojana was introduced from Kharif crop of 2016. I'm sure you would have noticed already, just reminding you or highlighting it to you, that if you see, all these are nothing but what had been suggested by the MS Swaminathan committee, and later on by Shanta Kumar committee in 2014 and Swaminathan committee in 2005 for how to improve farmers' productivity. You know, Swaminathan committee was talking about letting farmers know, but the evergreen revolution part, if you recall, you know, letting farmers know about soil, giving them good irrigation facilities, letting farmers having institutional mechanisms to avoid losses. That is the aspect here. Now this was introduced from Kharif crop of 2016. The scheme goes like this. You write in that, or first you understand the scheme. So the scheme is that 1.5 rupees per 100 rupees insurance will be the premium for food grains in Rabi crop अगर आप 100 रुपए का इंश्योरेंस लेने जाते हो तो किसान को 1.5 रुपए देने पड़ेंगे. If 100 rupees is the insurance claimed, then the farmer will have to give 1.5 rupees. And rupees 2 per 100 for non-food grains and food grains in Kharif crop. So non-food grains whether Rabi or Kharif, and food grains mainly in Kharif. Alright. So food grains in Kharif crop, that is rice mainly. Paddy is the major food grain in Kharif crop apart from certain pulses. So food grain mainly in Kharif, and non-food grain apart from that, both Rabi and Kharif, 2% will be the premium. And again remember, this is what the farmer has to pay. This is what the farmer has to pay. It doesn't mean insurance company will get this. Insurance company will of course take more, but rest will be given by center and state government, as this is the centrally sponsored scheme. The rest will be by center and state government, as this is a centrally sponsored scheme. At the moment, central government and state government are sharing it 50-50, But in this year's finance bill, there is a proposal that 60% should be shared by state government and 40% by central government in Fasal Bima Yojana. Then 5 rupees for 100 rupees insurance for horticulture. 5 rupees for 100 rupees insurance for horticulture. So 1.5 rupees per 100 rupees for Rabi crop, 2 rupees per 100 rupees for non-food grains in both Rabi and Kharif, and food grains in Kharif crop, and 5 rupees per 100 rupees in horticulture. Again I repeat, this is the premium that the farmers have to pay, and then whatever is the rest of the amount as premium that the government has to pay to the the insurance company, the central and state government will pay that. मान लो insurance company बोलते हैं, suppose if the insurance company says that our premium is 12 rupees per 100 rupees. Out of that 2 rupees is say paid by the farmer. Then the rest 10 rupees will be shared between central government and state government in the ratio 50-50. I hope I am clear to you. Now understand this. The scheme goes like this. Every year, as close as possible to the harvesting season, normally it is done 15 days to 1 month before crop harvesting begins, but as close as possible to harvesting season, a crop cutting evaluation is done by state government, CCE. Alright, crop cutting evaluation every year as close as possible to harvesting season, a crop cutting evaluation is done by the state government. Alright, this is state government's job. So every year, close to the crop harvesting season, crop cutting evaluation will be done by the state government. And this, whatever is your yield evaluated, alright, जो भी agricultural production है जो evaluate हुआ, so whatever is the yield evaluated, that evaluated yield will be compared, to average crop yield of that area, average crop yield is the information about crop yield of that area that you have received from historical data. That data can be 7 years data, 10 years data, 15 years data, as old as possible, and you take an average crop yield, and then you get, okay, this is the average production that takes place, this is the actual production that is expected to take place, and of course, as a ratio of average crop yield into 100, if crop cutting evaluation is lesser than average crop yield, it means a loss to the farmer, and the farmer will be compensated by insurance company. Alright, that is the logic. That if crop cutting evaluation is lesser than average crop yield, then loss to the farmer and compensation accordingly for the farmer. If crop cutting evaluation is less than average crop yield, then loss to the farmer and compensation accordingly for the farmer. Both public and the biggest participant is Oriental Insurance. That is why it is very interesting when people say that all this is done to help the private companies. I mean, the largest participants are actually government companies in it. That is what insurance is for, except for damage due to war or damage due to natural calamities like earthquake. Alright, but other than that, if there is a damage, they will get the money. Alright, you write below this, the main objectives of the scheme, of the scheme are again the objectives will mean expected benefits. Alright, that is what the scheme has been launched for. You write A, it will encourage farmers, it will encourage farmers to take small risks, and grow high value crops. Like, practicing horticulture, developing fruits and vegetables more, because they will know that even by chance if we lose out, we still will be in a position to make some money because of the Fasal Bima Yojana that we would have. So we will not at least be dependent on somebody else to protect us. Then you write second, it will promote use of modern technology as it will reduce uncertainty of cropping. As it will reduce uncertainty of cropping. This will increase, after a full stop, this will increase crop productivity. See, a small farmer or a marginal farmer will not have the courage to go for modern technology because otherwise they have to rent it out. Whether it's a machine like thresher or harvester, they have to rent out these machines, use them, give it back, and they have to pay a rent on that. Now what they are worried about is something wrong happens to my crop, then I will lose even the rental money that I was giving. A better idea here will be they'll know that for all the costs that they are bearing, they are insured, they will get the money in case of any trouble, assures them to take more, use more machines, mechanization of agriculture, increases their productivity. Alright, that is the second aspect. Next, you write, it will support environment. It will support environment as farmers will choose crops. Farmers will choose crops which are suitable for their soil and agroclimatic region, even if they have the risk of market fluctuation of price, or pest attack related to them. So many places the farmers don't choose these because they feel that there is a risk of pest attack, they feel there is a risk of market fluctuation in price, Now once we assure them about an insurance program, we can get more participation. You know, point 1 and point 3 together can be used to claim that it can lead to more crop diversification. Alright, we can use point 1 and point 3 to claim that Fasal Bima Yojana can lead to more crop diversification. I'm trying to train you into something. Sometimes they can ask you a question to critically analyze lack of crop diversification in India and steps taken by the government to attain it. You understand that? So we talked about the reasons for lack of crop diversification in India, and now we talk about what are the steps taken by the government to attain it. So soil health card scheme is one, Fasal Bima Yojana is another. All these help in crop diversification. I hope I reach you on this. कि जब भी आपसे ये पूछें कि एनालाइज करो भारत में क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन क्यों नहीं हुआ और क्या सरकार ने किया है ये करने को, then you will be able to use, I mean collect the points. The point is that कि अपना जो नॉलेज बेस है उनको कलेक्ट करो और उनको यूज करोगे. मैंने आपको जो नोट्स अब पुट किए थे आपके ग्रुप पे, पोर्टल पे एंड सो ऑन, you will see there is a notes on food processing in that. Look into the advantages of food processing, and one advantage again is that it can promote crop diversity. You understand that a well-established food processing system can promote crop diversity. Next then, you write, fourth point, it saves the farmers, from depending on money lenders or government loan waivers in case of sudden failure of crop. All right. Put a note below that and write, from 2022, the government has made this scheme under voluntary participation that is, the farmers can choose irrespective of their indebtedness, INDEBTEDNESS. Indebtedness is being under loan. मैं आपको बताता हूँ कारण क्या है ये लिखवाने का. Till 2022 there was a rule by the government that if farmers are indebted, if they are under loan, then it's compulsory for them to take this scheme. Alright, that used to be the rule, that if they are under loan, it's compulsory for them to take the scheme. Now the government has said there is no compulsion, it's voluntary. It's a good thing because it gives the farmer the role of an agent rather than a subject. Agent होते हैं जो free moving हो, अपनी मर्जी से decision लें. Subject होंगे जो प्रजा हो गए, आप बोल रहे हो आपको ये करना ही पड़ेगा. Alright, so gives the farmer the freedom that okay, the decision to choose the scheme is mine and it has not been imposed. Alright. Then you write below that challenges of the scheme, and this is actually challenges observed under the scheme. Challenges of the scheme or challenges observed under the scheme. Alright. First one, you write, budgetary support has successively gone down budgetary support has successively gone down from 17,000 crore rupees, of course, 17,000 crore in 2018 to 13,500 crore in 2023-24, due to less participation by farmers. Less participation by farmers. Now you know that is what, see, again, as long as we keep giving loan waiver, you know, the participation by farmers won't happen. So that's one thing we need to take care of. अगर हम किसानों को बोल दें कि आपका लोन वेव कर दिया जाएगा, पैसे आपको मिल ही जाएंगे, ज़्यादा पैसे हम आपको सब्सिडी भी दे देंगे, why would I take an insurance? That also is something that I'm not used to. I mean, in India in general people don't take insurance, and here we are talking about crop insurance. Not many people would be very keen on doing that. So how about informing people that look, we are taking away the scheme with respect to loan waiver and all, but if you have taken a loan, why don't you take this small insurance so that it is assured that you won't lose anything even if your crop goes bad. Alright, that is one aspect. Second, you write, second challenge, lack of timely submission, lack of timely submission of crop cutting evaluation, by state government. You know, that's another challenge we have, that state governments have to submit the CCE around 15 days before the crop harvesting has to begin. Normally they don't submit it even after 1 month after the crop has been harvested. Now that means the insurance company doesn't have the result, and therefore it creates delays, which will be our next point, delays in giving compensation to the farmers, and reduces the confidence of the farmer on the program. मैं आज लेता भी हूँ इसमें से पार्टिसिपेशन, और मेरा खरीफ क्रॉप खराब हुआ और मुझे अगले खरीफ में जाकर कंपनसेशन मिला, I will not be interested next time. That I've given my money, I'm not getting it back. Alright, or getting anything out of that. Also remember, as I said, insurance education goes lacking. Sometimes the farmers feel, why should I pay if I will get nothing if the crop remains good? You understand that? They don't realize that what they pay is for protection. Alright, that is again a point. So if we can connect this scheme to some investment related schemes, that just might help also. Alright, bringing forth a scheme that farmers can invest some money, they will get some, that will mobilize savings from the farmers. Tell the farmers you will get some money after 5 years, and this much amount will be deducted for the purpose of crop insurance. So in that case we can incentivize more people to join crop insurance. That was the logic of LIC giving investment possibilities in life insurance, especially in the beginning days in India. Otherwise people did not take life insurance. 1940s, 50s, 60s में लाइफ इंश्योरेंस दिलवाना मुश्किल था इंडिया में, लोग मारने लगते थे LIC एजेंट्स को. जब जाते थे बोलते थे अगर आपको कुछ हो गया तो मुझे क्यों होगा कुछ, फिर वो they would be after their life. तो इसीलिए LIC अभी भी तुम देखोगे that they don't use the language that you will die or mishap. They use language in case of an eventuality, without mentioning that what that eventuality would be. So they use this language and they actually try convincing you that it's an investment and not a protection necessarily. But insurance is a protection, not an investment. But yes, when we know that we are a less financially literate country and you need to incentivize people to take insurance, then that can be one factor that connected to investment, and then maybe incentivize them. Over a period they will learn that insurance works good. Alright. Next then, you write, third part, state governments do not submit their share. State governments do not submit their share on a timely basis. Some of the state governments have even objected, that why should we call it a Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana? We should call it Pradhan Mantri Mukhyamantri Fasal Bima Yojana, because we also give money, So then it becomes political one-upmanship. Some state governments say that we have our own program for farmers insurance, so why should we take up Fasal Bima Yojana? So all that becomes trouble part. And point 2 and 3 that you wrote, B and C, combine them and say that delays in payments received by the farmer. This B and C together lead to delays in payments received by the farmer. Delays in payments received by the farmer. And then one more you write, lack of proper land record results in poor implementation. As tenant farmers are reluctant to join the scheme. Tenant farmers are reluctant to join the scheme. I'll take a second. So, tenant farmers are people who are not cultivating their own land, and they are not majorly interested in taking the scheme because already they know that 30, 25%, 30%, etc. of their crop will go to the landlord. Now they don't want to take more burden, even if it is 1.5% or 2%. Now again a mechanism will have to be developed, get the land records, identify the landlords, and approach the landlords that if they could participate in the scheme, they save themselves and they save the tenant, which will make their land more attractive. You understand that? Or maybe they can reduce the burden on the tenant a little bit. The burden reduction will be very less, 1.5%, 2%. So suppose if the landlord is taking 30%, if the landlord can be convinced to take something like 25% or 28% or 29%, then some burden sharing can result. You understand that? That is the idea, and that can help in better progress of the program. Alright. Again remember, it may not reach remote areas immediately. It may not help very poor farmers immediately, but the demonstration effect begins even if it is affecting few people and they are gaining out of that. Alright? Yes. Right. Okay. No, so you know what happens, these companies are treated separate from the government. So the payment will be done by Ministry of Agriculture, and the money will be received by an insurance company whose board of directors will have nothing to do with Ministry of Agriculture. So that way the differences remain. Village basis involving the panchayats. They will be collected. No, so insurance is for individual farmer, evaluation is on a village basis. Yes, but then you know what happens? There is a scope in the scheme that the farmer can bring that forth and the village panchayat will certify that and they will be given compensation for that. So there is a scope for that. In fact, now from last year, government has even allowed that you, that you can simply take a photograph of the event, like suppose there is an animal intrusion or a pest attack only on a particular set of field. You take a photograph of it and just get that stamped by the village panchayat and share that photograph even online with the Ministry of Agriculture, and they will forward it to the insurance company. So they're trying to make it easier. But the real problem is that, it's like people don't want to take even that small effort because they're not used to it. It's not about blaming the people. It's just that they're not even used to that check and balances they don't want. उनको फिर लगता है हमें टाल रहे हैं, देना नहीं चाहते पैसा. Yeah. True. Actually, right now the government is handling it by allowing insurance companies to keep the overall insurance charge high, premium charge, and then the government compensates them with that high premium charge. But yes, expectation is this which you are saying, and we have to believe that that is what should be done in the longer run. That it's only when you convince larger number of people and people from all hues and cries to participate that any insurance plan can be successful. So that is the expectation in the longer run. Also, the idea is that gradually bring agribusiness into more in picture. So that will mean that agribusiness will buy this insurance on behalf of the farmer. Like suppose I am an agribusiness company, you are a farmer, I give you an order to produce 100 quintal. Now I know that this 100 quintal delivery I need, otherwise it will be further trouble for me. So that might instigate me that, okay, let me take 1.5% of the cost, and during negotiation with the farmer I can bargain on that, and let me tell them to take insurance for this. That was in the mind when government brought in the Contract Farming Act. But then we, being us, we had this whole thing happening. Okay. At the moment it has been said that it has benefited more than 2 crore farmers. But then there is no record of per annum. It said that it has benefited more than 2 crore farmers. That is what the record has been. जो ये पैसा कम हो रहा है, ये कम होना इसलिए नहीं चाहिए क्योंकि 17,000 करोड़ में बहुत कम किसान कवर्ड थे, कुछ स्टेट्स ने अपना नाम वापस ले लिया, फिर भी नंबर ऑफ फार्मर्स बढ़ने चाहिए. पैसा कम होने का मतलब है कि आप बेनिफिशियरीज कम दे कर पा रहे हो. उनको तो ज्यादा इंश्योरेंस लेना चाहिए ना, इसीलिए वही तुम्हें कह रहा हूं. तो अगर कोई गुजरात है, वेस्ट बंगाल है, केरला है, बहुत के स्टेट से जिन्होंने स्कीम से अपना नाम वापस लिया, वो 2018 में भी वापस ले चुके थे. और इफेक्टिवली बढ़ना चाहिए. मैं फिर कहूंगा कवरेज बढ़ने की बात है. अगर 10 करोड़ लोग भी फार्मिंग कर रहे हैं, सोच के देखो, और हर आदमी के खेत में अगर 1-1 लाख रुपए की भी चीज होती है, ठीक है, हमारा टोटल अच्छा तुम ऐसे सोच लो, 270 लाख करोड़ का एग्रीकल्चर है, इकोनॉमी है हमारी ब्रॉडली, 270 लाख करोड़ इकोनॉमी. इसका अराउंड 18% एग्रीकल्चर है. इसका मतलब यह हुआ करीब 50 करोड़ का एग्रीकल्चर है, 50 लाख करोड़ का. 50 लाख करोड़ के एग्रीकल्चर में कंसिडरिंग कि 20% या 15% का भी प्रीमियम है, और हम 13,000 करोड़ का प्रीमियम दे रहे हैं, या सरकार बेनिफिट प्रोग्राम बना रही है, तो इसका मतलब हम 1 लाख करोड़ भी कवर नहीं कर रहे अभी इंश्योरेंस के अंदर. मेरी कैलकुलेशन समझे या मैं ऐसी हवा में बोल रहा हूं? मैं फिर समझा देता हूं, ये आप सबको समझना जरूरी है. आई एम सेइंग दैट वी आर एन इकोनॉमी विच इज 270 लाख करोड़ इकोनॉमी. Out of that, 18% is the GVA in agriculture, 17% to 18%. I'm sure all of you have read that. That means we are approximately, even if I take the lower end of 17%, at least a 45 lakh crore contribution by agriculture. Out of this 45 lakh crore contribution, now, so keep that, okay, agricultural contribution, 45 trillion rupees, 45 lakh crore. 13,000 crore or 13,500 crore rupees premium, even if I believe that the insurance, because it's agriculture, the premium charged would be high. Even if we believe that the companies are charging low premium, and even if you take 10% premium, even though the actual premium on the ground is 15 to 16%, but let us say even 10% premium, that will mean we are covering crop worth 1,35,000 crore out of 45 lakh crore. That's hardly any coverage. You understand that? If I introduce even state programs into it, Jharkhand has a program, Chhattisgarh has a program, West Bengal has a program, Kerala has a program, Telangana has a program. If I include all that, their total budget together is not even 10,000 crore. Let's make it even 10,000 crore and let's multiply that also by 10 and add another 1 lakh crore to it. Still it makes 2.35 trillion coverage in an agricultural production of 45 trillion. Highly, and this is after very optimistic assumptions. So we are highly underinsured in our agriculture. रिस्क के हिसाब से और वैल्यूएशन के हिसाब से, जिस क्रॉप की वैल्यू ज्यादा उस पे प्रीमियम ज्यादा, जिस पे रिस्क ज्यादा उस पे प्रीमियम ज्यादा, ठीक है, उस तरह से. All right, now see, when you, so we take this up further. You write now, next point, you write PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. This is the next, fourth measure taken. Third was Fasal Bima Yojana. So you write fourth, PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. It's called PM Kisan. PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. And that's called PM Kisan. You write, the scheme was introduced groundwater subsidy is given by electricity subsidy, Hemant. Tenants on record of government are already being brought up. Swamitwa is helping in that, but not entirely. All right. There is a question that why states have opted out of this PM Fasal Bima Yojana. States opted out because they didn't want to contribute to a central scheme where they were not getting the credit. They felt that we can implement a state-based scheme, we get better credit, and implementation will be easier because some schemes predated Fasal Bima Yojana. Fasal Bima Yojana came later and these schemes predated it. So they said we are already having a scheme, why should we take a new scheme by the central government? So these are reasons why some, and then political acrimony plays a big role in that. Most of the states you will see opting out except Gujarat, and in those days Maharashtra, when it had opted out but then it came back again, were non-BJP ruled states. So political acrimony had its own role to play. All right. नहीं वो हिम्मत की बात नहीं थी, वो बात था कि अगेन गुजरात के पास एक प्रीडेटिंग स्कीम था. जिनके पास प्रीडेटिंग स्कीम है वो कहते हैं मैं ज्वाइन नहीं करना चाहता. इसीलिए जो उस वक्त मुख्यमंत्री थे वो एमएलए भी नहीं है ना. यस successful. So that is why the micro data is not available. We have the macro data that there are farmers who have gained from it and crops have been compensated, but the micro data is not available. There is no micro data granular available. Yeah. You write the scheme was introduced in 2019, comma, retrospectively from December 2018, full stop. Under the scheme, government will provide rupees 6,000 annually, 6,000 annually in 3 equal installments, to all the farmers full stop. The main objective of the scheme, main objectives of the scheme are, and you write A, to allow the farmers unconditional transfer for purchasing raw material. Second, when I say unconditional, it means that government doesn't put a condition what you will use it for, but expects that the farmers will use it to buy fertilizers or seeds or use it for their irrigation benefits and so on. Second, you write, to reduce dependence of the farmers, on money lenders, and why that? Because farmers depend on money lenders for either buying their input or taking their crop to the markets or to preserve their crop in a storehouse. All this needs some money. Now some people say that this money is too less, which is true. The money is too less. But point is, if I am a very small farmer, then this money can give me some help. Again, the initial objective, which has now been less talked about, but the initial objective was begin PM Kisan and gradually start subsuming fertilizer subsidy, seed subsidy, irrigation subsidy under PM Kisan. That used to be the initial thinking. All right, but of course with electoral politics playing its role, right now the government has, and then the government has been shocked badly because of the farming protests that happened, and they had to go back on it. So if you see, they have gone slow on every agricultural reform that they could have done. All right, now nobody talks about DBT in fertilizer, and nobody talks about a Krishi Sinchai Yojana to be implemented with farmers protection scheme also. ये शुरू में बातें थी कि किसान को ये सब benefit दिया जाएगा, अभी ये बातें कम हो गई हैं थोड़ी, because the government was shaken by the farmers protest. So the government is worried that today if we increase PM Kisan without reducing other subsidies, it will not be sustainable. But if we reduce other subsidies and then even if we increase PM Kisan, the reduction in other subsidies will not be taken very well by the richer farmers, and they just might resist that. All right. In the same thing then, only farmers. All the farmers, but it doesn't cover farmers, these are farming households. Doesn't cover farmers who are tenants and doesn't cover landless agricultural labor. All right, so when we say all the farmers, is farming households. No land criteria, it was there initially. By chance kahin padh liye ho to bhul jana. 2019 March when it was introduced, they had said that large farmers will not get it. But when they came back to power in June 2019, they made it for everyone. That is why the budget of the scheme also was increased from 54,340 crore to 75,400 crore in 2019-20. इस साल इसका budget 60,000 crore है इस scheme का. All right, let's see this. Then you write third point. It encourages the farmers to diversify crops, because they will not be dependent on traders in choice of seeds. Like normally otherwise what happens is they take money from the traders to choose seeds. In this case now the farmers may not need money from the traders, because otherwise the traders insist that you buy seeds like of seed, wheat and rice, because that's where easy money can be made. Now they are not dependent on traders, helps them comparatively better. And then you write, the scheme has two major challenges. Two major challenges. A, it has very less amount dedicated to it. Very less amount dedicated to it. And its budget has been reduced from 75,000 crore in 2019-20 to 60,000 crore by 2023-24 due to lack of enough reporting of beneficiaries. And second, you write, it does not include landless farmers and tenant farmers who are relatively more deprived than landlords. Okay, you just give a heading, we'll stay on that today. You write, now this was my aim for today, otherwise I wouldn't, generally I don't believe in delaying you, but I had thought today before entering the class that I'll do it till PM Kisan. तो वो मैं छोड़ने वाला आपको उसके पहले मूड में था नहीं. So you take the next one then, you write, just the heading, you write, प्रधानमंत्री अन्नदाता आय सुरक्षा योजना, PM आशा, अन्नदाता आय सुरक्षा योजना, अन्नदाता आय सुरक्षा योजना. The basic objective of this scheme is to make sure that the farmer at least gets MSP. That is the idea of this scheme. That किसान को कम से कम minimum support price मिल जाए. अन्नदाता आय सुरक्षा योजना. Minimum income for the farmer through MSP. That is the basic objective. All right, we'll keep it till here today. I am hopeful I'll finish agriculture tomorrow and I'll begin with poverty, inequality, unemployment. So hopefully by Monday we should be done on things. But by tomorrow I'll be able to confirm that whether we are on track of finishing things then. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow 2:50 then. Excessive? हाँ, वही उसी को कह रहे हैं, soil degradation. कुछ भी उन सब के लिए प्रोटेक्टेड है एक्सेप्ट फॉर अर्थक्वेक. All right, people online, I'll see you tomorrow at 2:50. No, there is no science behind 6K, Nikita. I was answering your question. I have a class to take in another 15 minutes, so I'll have to leave you here, and I'll see you tomorrow then, 2:50. Bye-bye.